Hey guys, welcome back to SuperATV Live. We've been doing this series now to celebrate our 20th anniversary. We're glad you're joining us. We're a little bit later in the month this time around because we've been out doing some ride testing down in Tennessee around the Tackett Creek area and put a lot of stuff to the test, including one of our new products, the Ranger Long Travel Kit. We're going to be throwing some media out your way you can check that out. So make sure you get signed up for our contest, right?
Absolutely. So first off, I want to thank Carl D. From Washington State. He won last month's. Thank you very much for signing up. Be sure to sign up this month. We're doing a Summer Nights package. So it's going to have some audio, some lighting. It's going to be a sweet package.
Yep. And also make sure you stick around for the broadcast all the way because we are going to be giving away a discount code to save 25% off ball joints from right now until midnight once we give the code. So make sure you stick around to the end and make sure you get the code for that because that's a great discount. And the reason that we're focusing on the ball joints for discounts is that's what we want our focus are live on today. So we have a lot of great ball joint lines. We're going to really dive into the Keller ball joint line, talk a little bit about design, installation. But before we get to Keller, maybe just talk a little bit, Braden, about all the different types of ball joints we have and maybe what makes them have an advantage.
Absolutely. So we're going to start off with our standard duty. It's going to be a great replacement option, very cost effective. You know, if you have a machine that you're not out running big tires thrashing on, that's a great option. Then we have the heavy duty 4340 ball joint. This is going to be fully adjustable, greasable, serviceable. Then we have the 300M option as well. This is a great choice. 300M is an excellent material that we use across the board for a lot of different parts that we manufacture here. Again, greasable and serviceable.
Hey, just real quick, Braden, I know one of the things you said is it was serviceable, adjustable, greasable. Can you talk a little bit about like what is the adjustability of, like, so basically when you feel a ball joint kind of getting loose, you can adjust that, correct?
Right, so you know, if you have your machine in the shop, let the suspension drop out, you grab a hold of the tire or the hub, pick up on it, you see some up and down movement, well you can adjust that out with this, as long as it's the ball joint that is wearing in, because things wear in, you know, as you break them in, they start to wear in a little bit. You can tighten them up, grease them. You know, it's very
gives you a little
easy to
bit
do that.
longer life out of your ball joint than if you just had to go in and replace it straight out.
Absolutely,
Cool.
absolutely.
All right, so let's talk a little bit, well, before we jump into Keller, maybe talk about one of our other options is a little bit newer for us.
Yeah, so this is the Atlas Pro arm, which is a newer product to us in general. If you don't know, we went from an 1.25 inch in diameter arm with our typical arms that we offered, and with the Atlas Pro we went to an 1.5 inch in diameter, so a lot larger tubing, very heavy duty option. So we have these to where you can purchase them with standard ball joints, or we have the Heim option. So this is going to delete the ball joint.
I'll hold this up here while you're talking.
Perfect. So this is going to delete the ball joint. We call it around here a ball joint delete style arm. It's going to run a heavy duty Heim, and as you can see, it has the pin here to where it would typically go in when you're mounting it to you know, your bearing carrier or your knuckle. You would make all your camber adjustments right there at the Heim, and if you were to ever wear a Heim out on the trail, super easy to change it. Crack the jam nut loose, spin it out, thread a new one in, you're good to go.
Awesome. So yeah, those are Atlas Pro A-arms. All of our A-arms, lifetime warranty. Almost all of our A-arms you can order with either pre-pressed in ball joints, different options, so make sure you get out there and take a look at those.
So before we roll into, I'm going to demonstrate how a Keller goes together. I want to highlight something real quick. It is Keller. This is one of our newer products that we've came out with to accommodate different year, make, model machines. This is what we call the low profile Keller. So as you see, we're going to talk about, and this is a little bit different design than what we've seen out of other Keller ball joints. So we're trying to make sure that we have Kellers out there for everybody, and that was the next step, is to manufacture something like that.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, for those of that do know, the Keller name in ball joints has been out there for a long time. It has a super high reputation. I'm not sure the exact timeline, probably about 1.5 years ago. Todd came into our family, so he's part of the SuperATV family now. We took over the manufacturer of Keller ball joints, and one of the reasons that we wanted to focus on that today was to show you a little bit about the Keller difference in design. We want to talk a little bit about how to install it, and then we also want to talk about how it's manufactured, because we still, to this day, make all of the Keller product here in Madison, Indiana, which we'll get into a little bit later. But maybe if you want to talk a little bit, Braden, about design, what is the basis of a Keller ball joint? What makes it different than a traditional ball joint?
Yeah, so start off with the design. The biggest thing that you're going to notice that's different between a Keller ball joint and, you know, a standard press-in style ball joint is no snap ring. So no matter how strong we make a ball joint, the snap ring is always the weakest point. This is always going to be the failure point. No matter how strong material you use, you can't, keep the snap ring from popping off in an extreme situation, obviously. So that's what Todd Keller did, is he designed a ball joint that eliminated that snap ring. So just to quickly demonstrate how this goes together, it's very easy, and it's awesome to check it out if you haven't seen one of these before. Adam, I'll have you hold that for me if you don't mind. So this
I should have ate my Wheaties today.
You should have. This is our Sidewinder arm, super heavy duty arm as well. So first component, this is going to be the pin. This drops in the base, and before I even drop this in here, I want to say something. The base needs to be pressed in. This is a common thing that we get questions on. People try to stick the base up there and then take an impact and run that in and pull it into the ball joint housing on the arm. You're going to pull the threads off, and don't do that. Just press this in. It's nice. It's easy to do. It takes 2 seconds. Press it in. Once the base is in, you're going to take the pin, drop it in place, take the cup, drop it in, and the cap. You thread this on. You're going to thread that all the way down, and then you're going to torque this to 150 foot-pounds.
And this is the key in the design that replaces the snap ring, right?
Absolutely.
So now this whole cap with all of those threads are what really is keeping that stud in place.
Absolutely. Yep. No snap ring there. And if you ever had to service anything, it makes it nice and easy, right? You just unthread that, all the components come out. Right up here is a set screw to set the tension, so you can really fine tune, how tight this ball joint is going to be. We recommend to snug it down, back it off a 16th, just so it has some good tension on it. Sit it down if you want now. We'll talk about this.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're good looking out.
Yeah, just trying to help you out, man.
Let's move these out of the way.
So before you run these, obviously you're going to need to put grease in them. This does have a flush mount Zerk on it. We do that because you don't want to be bouncing down the trail. Obviously, this is a needle style Zerk as well, but imagine having a Zerk sticking out this far. You go over a rock, you take it, you knock it right off. So that's why the Keller's going to have a flush mount Zerk in it. Whenever you go to put grease in, which we recommend to use a high pressure, high quality grease, don't go to the parts house and buy the cheapest stuff. You want to protect your investment. You want to make sure that you have good grease in these ball joints. In order to get grease into the ball joint, though, you're going to need a needle greaser. You can pick these up at most parts houses. Order them online. They're very cost effective. They're pretty cheap to get, easy to get. But how this works is it goes right down in the center of that Zerk. On that flush mount Zerk, there's a little ball in there. The tip of this needle greaser is going to push down, and then you're able to grease this ball joint. Again, make sure you're using good, high quality, high pressure grease.
Yeah, so just again, one of the failure points that always happens, or one of the weakest points of a ball joint insertion, is going to be the snap ring. And so this obviously replaces that. But obviously you can see the other advantage of that is because of the way this ball joint comes apart, right? If you're in the field and something happens, like you do for some reason break a stud, that cap or that cup is going to be intact inside the ball joint. Studs can be popped out and replaced easily. You can replace parts that we do sell parts for rebuilds. And this can be done on the trail when a traditional ball joint, if that snap ring fails and that ball joint gets popped out from the housing itself, you're kind of out of luck until you get another one pressed in, right?
Yep, you are. It's like Adam was saying, it's very easy to get common wear components from us on the website too. Pop over there. If you can't find them, just give us a call. We got a great customer service team that'll help you with the Keller ball joint line, anything that you need.
Yep. But just in general, overall, like Keller ball joints are built the beefiest ball joints there are around.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about how we make these things. So I want to have Jordan Steffen come on in. He is, what's your title again, Jordan?
Product and Media Manager.
Okay, I always forget people's titles. Jordan was really instrumental in a lot of the project that came over from when we acquired Todd in as a brand. He knows a lot about the manufacturing process, a lot about materials, and maybe if you wanted to talk just a little bit, Jordan, about some of the ways that we incorporated Todd's brand here in Madison, and maybe talk a little about the materials and how they get made.
Yeah, so a lot of my background is in machining. That's what I went to school for. That's what I've done for many years before I come on at SuperATV. So when we brought Todd's ball joint line in-house, we invested in a Nakamura Tone CNC lathe, twin spindle, twin turret to be able to run high volume, high production. We still use the same materials that Todd spec'd out when he was making these in-house.
Which is important because you hear a lot of chatter out there about how we've changed things with Keller ball joints, and it's just simply not true. We're doing everything the way Todd lined it out, and even made some improvements on his designs, right?
Yep.
As per his request.
So, like this bar here is E4340, which is what Todd spec'd out. Still come from the same supplier Todd always bought from to make our studs. So
that becomes that.
That turns into that. A few things we have added that Todd always wanted to add and couldn't because he didn't have the machine capability, but when we spec'd out a new machine to make his ball joints in-house, we added the capability too. We added these grease grooves right here. That allows when you're pumping the grease from the top, it to flow around and get to the bottom of that ball joint. That way that ball is getting completely greased all the way around. So that's one of the materials we use. We send this out. It's all machined here in Madison, Indiana. We send it up to a company in Indianapolis that does all of our heat treat, controls that process for us. We also have this here, which is 1045, which is the same thing Todd spec'd out.
And that becomes a cap?
To make our caps. With the Nakamura Tone twin spindle machine that we have, we'll set up, raw material comes in, we'll turn it, thread this end, hand off to our sub spindle, come in and machine the hex on it, tap it, and then drops the part out. Next one comes in, keeps running. Everything's done here in Madison, Indiana. The machining, we have local coating suppliers to do our coatings. We have a place in India that does all our heat treat. So every bit of the machining from Todd's product is done here in Madison, Indiana.
Yeah, and then once they're done, they're put together into in our assembly units here in Madison. They get packed up and they get ready for shipment out. So pretty cool process. Seems like there was something else that we were going to talk about, but I forget what it is now. I think we're good. Now I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Any questions, Braden, that you have as far as that goes?
I don't. Just want to touch back on the improvement on the pin design.
Yeah.
That is awesome. We talked a little bit about it here before we got started, talking about where that grease would kind of get hung up at. And, obviously, if it's not lubricated, it's going to cause premature wear. These ball joints, this improvement is going to make it last a lot longer too, right? I mean, that's the thing that is...
That was why Todd always wanted to do it, and was, like I said, didn't have the machining capability to add it. But then when we acquired him and we talked through the process of what he would like to see in the future of his designs, since his name is still carried on the product, that was one thing he was really adamant in we adding, so we expect our machine to be able to produce that product.
Just one other thing, I did have a question. So Braden, you touched on it a little bit before. So obviously some people might say, hey, if I look at this ball joint, it's pretty flat, but when I look at a Keller ball joint, depending on my application, this might have clearance issues. So that's kind of what we did with this low profile design, is that right? Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So one I'll bring up is the Ranger.
Okay.
Ranger, very popular machine. People are putting big portals on them, lifts, and trying to get a ball joint that would stay in, it was tough, obviously, snap ring issues. So that's the one I think that we started with first, is making the low profile design for. Same concept applies, just obviously it's a different design. We had to make it a different design just because, like you said, of the point here to here on the top of the cap is a lot different than what it's going to be on this. So it still has a base, still presses in the base, still locks down with the nut, and then also this is where you would do your adjustments rather than having the set screw.
So the top of the cap screws into outside around where the ball is, so that it presses down on that cup?
Exactly. If you
Well, I guess the cup itself is actually threaded, right?
Right, so if you want to pass me that whole color there, I'll show you. So if you line these bases up, you can see the height difference. And the only reason we're doing that is just for it to fit on certain year make model machines.
Right. Yeah, that's a big deal, because that was always a lot of the complaints, is unless you were doing some sort of custom application with custom arms or anything like that, then you had some of those issues.
Right.
All right, awesome. Well, yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Get people to sign up this month, is that right?
That's right. Sign up this month. Got the lights, the audio, discount code for the ball joints.
Yeah, so discount code for the ball joints is going to be MAINT25. That's MAINT25. We're going to fire the discount code maker. That's supposed to be maintenance, but shortened. So write it down, MAINT25. That will get you 25% off all of our ball joints from right now until midnight tonight. So make sure you stop by and get that. It's a great discount. Get to superatv.com /win. Get signed up for this month's prize package. Again, that's only till the 31st at midnight for the month of July. And then make sure you stick around. The next month, we'll be giving away again to help celebrate 20 years of Super ATV. We're giving something away every single month. So make sure you stop back. We appreciate you guys being here. That's it for me. You guys got anything?
That's all I got. Thanks
All right.
for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
We're out. Later.